In the road to success, it's as important to take risks and push yourself as it is to stick to your goal, and often if that involves others, there is conflict. Behavioral experts who have studied exceptionality believe that what defines standout people is their ability to be focused and assertive in their viewpoint. And assertiveness doesn't mean pushing your way through. It is the art of balance.
There are a few guidelines around assertive behavior. Assertive behavior, how do I get across to you whether I am being assertive? It's a function of my communication. And in communication, researchers will tell you, most communication is non-verbal. It's transmitted through gestures, body language, posture, eye contact, etc. Assertive people are fairly cognizant of all this. They'd look you in the eye when they speak to you in a non-threatening manner. They'd use gestures well, they'd be comfortable, they'd know how to protect their personal space, etc. But there are also verbal skills on when we get into interaction, how do I assert? While there are many skills, I just take you through a couple of them. The first skill that you could look at is something called fogging, right? Assertion, the need for assertion comes because somewhere we may try to manipulate the other person using guilt, ignorance, conformism to really get them into a disadvantageous position in a negotiation. Fogging is a method that prevents you from falling into that trap. You've heard this term called, that's a trick question. Now, how do you avoid that? And how do you therefore avoid coming across as unassertive? Words that managers can use to avoid this is use words like perhaps, maybe, what do you think, right? Avoid getting into the trap. That's one. The second bit of assertiveness is there are different skills for different situations. Very often you have somebody you really want something and you're not getting it. You really want something and you're not getting it. So they very aptly termed this skill as the broken record. Remember those old LP players? The needle would just get stuck and play the same thing again. And they said if you say it well, and if you say it about 7 times, the chances of your getting it increased. Kids know it very well. They'll throw that tantrum, right?
I was just thinking of that.
The broken record technique had its origins when they were training people on how to deal with hostage situations. You're dealing with somebody who's got a hostage and you need to negotiate. So you just very calmly keep saying the same thing again. In a hijack situation, the negotiator would, in a hijack situation, if you notice, women and children are usually let off the hijacked plane before the others. It's not by accident. It's by a technique called the broken record, where you assert with the hijacker, I hear what you're saying, let the women and children go. And that person gives his volley of what he or she's been through. I hear what you're saying, let the women and children go. Now a broken record can enable you, it needs to be logical, it needs to be rational. If it's an emotional broken record, that's what you call a tantrum. If it's logically stated, it helps. We've used it at times when we feel, one of the biggest things that people in our industry face is they don't get their money on time. And somewhere our sense of self-worth told us, why do we need to run after our money? People who work as employees get their salary, they don't need to run after it. If we are going to partner with an organization, we won't run after our money. So for a couple of organizations, we use the broken record technique to say, we had an agreement that money would come in here, we are not okay with this, can we resolve? Right? You're not attacking anybody, you're just referring to the agreement. Now the problem comes when the other person is as skilled on the broken record as you are. And you both get stuck. You then work on a workable compromise.
And that is a situation we often face at the workplace. But what do you do when the person opposing you is irate and refuses to listen to what you have to say? Behavioral science says that there are skills you can use to deal with these situations.
A lot of people may relate with this skill. A lot of our viewers would have dealt with people who are very irate, or very angry, who are emotionally over the top. You use a skill called negative inquiry. A negative inquiry is very simple. You've got a cup full of woes, allow the person to empty the cup. And you would use a skill called, I'm very unhappy with your service, you guys are this, da, 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 da. And all an assertive response would demand of you is to say, I hear what you're saying, is there anything else? Yeah, da, 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 da. Is there anything else? And you notice once the person has let off, what usually happens to them?
Calm down.
They calm down a little. And then they are in a space to hear you a little bit as well. We used to train a very large telecom company, and they used this negative inquiry well because they had, an odd customer would be upset. They came to us with a real situation called, we deal with abusive customers. Now, how do you deal with that? How do you practice assertiveness? Do you need to practice assertiveness? So, we really worked on a script with them where an assertive response from the service executive side would be, so I am happy to deal with your issue, I am not happy to deal with your abuse, let me know when we can speak. So, very calm, that person would calm down, I am happy to hear, is there anything else? Is there anything else? And I am happy to hear with it. These are certain mindsets that can enable and skills that can enable you to deal assertively with a situation.
Great. If you were to sum up our conversation and look at conflict resolution, because that's a stumbling block for many people. I mean, you lose out with patience, you've got deadlines, you need to figure it out, and you need to go on to the next level, and you are impatient. What would it be? What are the 3-4 things that you should have in your kitty to be able to manage it?
The good thing about exceptionality is, while we may have various terms for a lot of things, but at some level they all come down to a few basics. So, when you are dealing with conflict, the first thing you need to do is stifle your impulsiveness. Remember your amygdala? It comes into play beautifully in a conflict situation. Aggressive people have amygdalas which are researched to be larger than others. Now, firstly control your impulsiveness and allow the logical part of your brain to respond, which is what assertive people do very well. The second thing is, in a conflict, assertive people have a very grounded sense of what their sense of self-worth is, and they are also able to give the other people to assess what their self-worth is. So, they listen very well, and as a consequence they are usually able to resolve conflicts where both sides are better off than where they started off from.
Being assertive is an art, and the good news is that it's something that can be learnt. An important lesson for any person going to the next level of success. Well, on Choose to Win next week, we take another step towards understanding exceptionality and talk about leadership and what it takes to be a good leader.
See, the beauty about success is not in never failing. It's in rising every time you fail. That is what is success.